What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first annual BzG Awards. Woo! So we've been on break for the last couple of weeks, and this is sort of like us sort of getting back into our regular schedule, but we're not recording our regular shows just yet. We wanted to take the time to recognize all of the great things that came out of 2015, like TV shows, movies, video games, music, and all that good stuff. Pornography.
Everything.
We'll get to that. But so before we go back into our regular recordings of talking shit and whatnot, we want to do an award show and recognize all the great things that have come out of last year. So the first part, because it's broken up into 3 parts, today we're going to talk about our personal favorite TV shows and albums of 2015. And just to explain to you guys, the next 2 parts, which will be movies and then video games, those are more of like an award show thing, when this part of it is sort of like the introduction, warming up, just having a discussion of what our favorite stuff is. Because it was hard to like come up with like categories for like TV shows and music when the 3 of us listen to very different and specific things and watch weird shit.
A lot of weird shit
when it comes to TV shows. So it was hard to like bring that all together and try to, you know, make us watch all of this other shit when we just don't have the time for it. So today it's going to be more like a discussion. And I forgot to introduce ourselves. My name is Barrett Courtney. I am one of your hosts, and here join with me are my great co-hosts and even better friends, the bisexist from Texas, Henry Montiero.
You put it in your pocket.
And in between us is my favorite chunky punk, Ricky Valdezan.
The cream rises.
The cream rises to the top.
And we're here today. We're going to talk about our personal favorite TV show. Well, first I think we'll do album. Our first like personal favorite album of 2015.
That one's pretty straightforward.
And then for our personal TV show of 2015. Just because it's sort of like the top 10 videos where we each go on a line and just talk about this is what my favorite thing was from last year and this is why. But before we do that, I've got some last minute silly awards to announce and to award today. So the first silly award, Best Guest for BzG in 2015 was Sock Monkey, the most racist piece of shit. Got us in trouble on Twitch. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was weird.
That was weird. And the most handsome guest would go to Tom Hawkins if he was on video at all for BzG. But since he wasn't on video, the best handsome guest goes to Elias Rose!
That's what we got? That's what we got to represent that category? Gefilte fish?
I mean,
He's a
Alex
handsome guy.
O'Neill would have won it, but like, I don't want to fill his ego any more than I already have. Like, I already sucked that dude's dick enough. But, you know, no longer.
times?
In a row? And again, it would have been Tom Hawkins, but yeah, he was only on the audio stuff. And then Sean Pitts, it's like, he doesn't need to have a BzG award. Like, he's too good for that shit.
He does not need it.
We have to ship an award to him now.
Fuck. I gotta buy awards.
Oh, no.
It's like best grandpa from like a fucking corner store.
Just buy Elias
Best
number
bowler
1.
of the week.
Elias gets a number 1 dad.
Yes. The second silly award category we have is Best Talking Shit Episode. The winner is Does Porn Kill Love? Because I really like that episode. I was going through the list of all the talking shit topics. And I really like that because it's a good combination of like us being silly, but then also being thoughtful and like really digging deep into like how we feel about things. And it's a great mixture of that because sometimes we just get way on the deep end and sometimes we just get like way too serious. And that was like we had a really good rapport at that episode.
Yeah.
You talking rough?
I'm talking
snuff. I'm talking not snuff.
You talking rough? I'm talking snuff.
And then best quick review, of course, goes to Elias for reviewing Gefilte Fish because that's just the fucking, that was the best. When he came on for like the second week of talking for BzG, he's like, I have nothing to review. Can I review this old Jewish recipe or whatever? And we're like, all right.
The review wins. Gefilte Fish never wins.
And then we've got Best Let's Play. Emily is away with our guest, Alyssa Shimoda. Because the whole time,
He's biased.
because the whole time
She slept her way to the top.
She was literally just yelling at the screen the whole time. It was the fucking funniest thing because you don't see Alyssa get like super mad often, but this was one of the few times we got to capture her just fucking lose it. And that was like a last minute like decision of doing a let's play because I showed her the game and she was getting like really into it, and then like she started getting a little upset about like what direction that game was going. I was like, we need to do a let's play right now. And so like I took like an hour to figure out how to set up like getting capture on like my computer, and then like getting audio from the computer and getting our audio. And it was like the most last minute like fucking decision I've ever made for a let's play. But I think it was our best one.
Alyssa's acceptance speech, the things I've done. The things I've done!
And then the last category for the silly award portion of the BzG Awards, best member of BzG goes to Seven Morris.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yay.
Because
you just see
literally
like a gloved hand come in and give a thumbs up.
He does so much for us. Like if you go back to our first week of BzG and look at the quality of that content, and then you look at these videos now and like the work that he put in, and just to make sure that we have like a good setup and we aren't constantly crackling or look fine on screen or whatnot, the work he does and the amount of things he does for us is just very, very awesome because
he's the man.
He is the man. And it was, just enough to let us use his kitchen every week. But then he went above and beyond what we asked him. And no, I think we should recognize him.
You always win when you come in 7th place.
Boo.
If you ain't first,
You're 7th.
you're 7th.
All right.
That's not true.
Anyway,
You can be second, you can be third.
those were our silly last minute BzG awards. I just came up with those last night because I thought it would be cute. Anyway, let's get to our favorite album of 2015. Henry, I want you to go first. What was your favorite album of 2015? Really, why I want him to go first, because I'm really interested, because I have no fucking clue.
But I want you two to go first so I can think about mine.
Okay, all right.
I thought you knew yours already. We kind of talked about this.
I talk about many things.
He talks about many things.
That's true.
That's not a lie.
That's why
Do
they
you not
call
know
him-
yours yet, or you're just coming up with it on the spot?
I have a large list.
You do, because you listen to a lot of music. So I'll go first, and then we'll make our way towards you, okay? Yeah. My favorite album of 2015, and I was thinking about this. We should have listened to it on the way here. I wanted to listen to it on the way here, but then I got distracted by
I always want to listen to it.
I got distracted by the White Album, so I was like, fuck. My favorite album of 2015 is The Front Bottoms, Back on Top. It was just such a solid release of... It made me remember when I was a kid of like listening to new Blink-182 or Sum 41 music of like, man, this track is it's so good, and I totally see past like all like criticisms it could have and whatnot. Like when that first came out, it was like just this solid fucking release, and every track was hitting it for me. And of course, like after months of resonating, like some tracks could have been throwaway tracks, and the track order is probably like the main thing I have to say about it. Is like some tracks don't make sense, and like this part of the album they could have been moving up to like earlier on in the album. But if you can do that, if you can make me think back to my childhood, and it's not that similar of music, because Blink-182, Sum 41, very basic, generic, early 2000s pop punk, and the Front Bottoms are a mixture of that a little bit. Like they have obvious inspirations from that genre a little bit, but they also bring in like the indie emo side to it, and like they bring like a nice awkwardness to all of their songs that I think no one else hits that well.
It sounds very genuine.
Yes, and that's the thing, is that's what I look for in music, is being genuine. That's why, like, growing up, I got so thrown off of Blink-182 because it sounded so fucking like produced and not thought of at all. Yeah. And because one of my favorite artists of all time is Bob Dylan, and that's why I love him, is because he comes from the heart, and he comes from deeper thinking than girls just don't like me. He puts a lot of effort into that, and he keeps that genuine feel to it, and the front bottoms do that as well. So I think it's awesome. I think my favorite track on the album would either have to be West Virginia or the Planned Fuck Jobs.
You were like,
oh
in
my
love
god,
with
the fucking
Fuck
steel
Jobs.
drums though.
Yeah. Like
What's the angry music reviewer dude? He's bald. He's got the little mustache.
Anthony Fantano?
Yes. He reviewed the album and he's like, that song could literally, like, if you just listen to the music, it could be like an advertisement for a new Apple product. And I'm like, he's got a point, but I dig it so fucking much. It's such a great tune.
It's really good.
It is really good. So that's my favorite album of 2015. Ricky, what is your favorite album of 2015?
So I have two that I really
You too.
like,
That's fine.
that I really can't.
You can't.
Because I like them for two different for like completely different reasons, because they're completely different albums.
And that's the thing, and that's why we didn't vote on like specific categories, because we're so fucking picky about shit. It would be hard to fucking list our nominees and actually like vote on them and whatnot. So yeah, go ahead.
So of course, like my obvious one is the same album, the front bottoms back on top.
All right,
the perfect, borderline flawless album. I loved it front to back. Probably listened to it over 20 times that first week constantly. It was fucking great.
It's a great feel good album. And then it has like some dips where it goes into some depression and whatnot, but it's it's
still relatable, and I connect on a lot of stuff that's on that album.
And the fucking final track though, of this whole sort of like growing up and like looking to religion, and just like the choir coming in at the fucking end is the best.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of tongue in cheek shit in this album of where at the end of that. Near the end of that album, where he's like, hold on, like let's take a second, like thank you so much for coming out, and like that shit's like it's cheesy as shit, but it's funny and it makes it makes me smile a little bit. And then like one of the first lines of the album is like riding a motorcycle, being in a gang, being in love, women's rights, and male hedonism. It's just like that shit was just fucking, it was gold.
No, I love the album. There's a lot that I realize that I connect with whoever, what's his name, the lead singer?
Brian, I forget his last name.
Well, Brian, I realized that I connect a lot with that album in general.
Yeah.
A lot more than all the other stuff you showed me before I really got into him and actually gave him the chance. I liked it because it was kind of like, this is like my time with the front bottoms, you know what I mean?
This is like your first album getting into them. I totally understand that.
So it was like, it was nice to kind of have that. And
the other thing is, it's like these last three albums have sort of been going through different phases of his life. Obviously, that's how all albums fucking work. But there's sort of like this narrative of going like, the self-titled Front Bottoms album is like being in a really like deep depression. Like you like to compare like the Front Bottoms, and then Town of the Hawk is like, the Front Bottoms is like a lot about sadness and being depressed, and then Town of the Hawk is about like being angry and pissed off, and and that's something I realized. Our friend Will likes the self-titled album way more, and then I like Town of the Hawk way more, and I think that's because like Will's sad and I'm just angry. Don't be sad, Will. We love you.
That's the other thing that I really liked about the Front Bottoms.
To cry, boy.
That's the other thing you really like is Will.
Is Will favorite album of the year?
But sorry, I just want to finish my point because I'm about to finish it off. Is and then Town of the Hawk is sort of about anger and being frustrated and all this stuff, and then Back on Top. Sorry, I keep blanking out on names. I'm tired. I stayed up till 3 a.m. last night watching the Kind of Funny Twitch stream. And then you go into Back on Top, and it's sort of about this album of like learning to be okay with yourself and growing up and sort of leaving all of the shit behind and just focusing on the here and now. And like it came out in time where it really resonated with the both of us.
Yeah.
So. Sorry, what was your thought?
That's what I was going to say was that the big thing that I really liked about, well, not just this album, but the Front Bottoms as a whole is kind of like, they're kind of like that thump in the head for other like pop punky bands that are like sticking to what like the business side of it and how to like attract to the kids and stuff. And like this whole idea that to be a pop punk band you have to be really depressing, you have to like try
you hate your town, you like pizza.
Yeah, like it's all that bullshit. And the Front Bottoms have kind of always they've been what they were at the time. So like first album, very sad. That's what they were then. Then they're really angry. And now it's just kind of like this wake up. The Back on Top is kind of like this wake up call to like almost like a fuck you to the other bands. It's kind of like, this is not what you have to do. We have to like progress and make progress.
Exactly. And that's what the thing I've been talking. I think we talked about this a little bit is pop punk dead, like talking shit topic of like you don't always have to talk about like. I know you're allowed to write about depression and all of this stuff, but when you do it for 3 or 4 albums about talking about the same fucking relationship, Jeremy McKinnon, you get a little old. And you get a little out of touch with what the scene was originally about. And it's about being yourself and, you know, having catchy tunes to be yourself too, you know? Yeah. And I also really like this album because it does... sort of homages to sort of old school lighthearted pop punk, and it was sort of like their take on a more of a pop record because they just like the tunes that they have in this one. They're like I listened to some of these songs and I'm like, these could actually be like radio hits. Yeah. But you know, I don't think they look for that in their career. I don't think they.
I mean, they are signed to Fueled by Ramen now.
That is true.
I don't even think it's just that though. I think it's just a different time now. That's just not what the radio's looking for anymore. Maybe like early 2000s. Yeah, definitely they would have fucking been on there.
Exactly.
But for right now, that's probably not what they're interested in because they're making.
I know what the radio's about.
Yeah.
Trust me. That's why I don't listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Except when I'm feeling pretentious, and then I listen to NPR.
I still think it's weird how "Stressed Out" is actually a top 20 hit now. The
really
21 Pilots song.
Wow, that is weird.
Well, they're like on another whole nother level now.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird.
Yeah,
I remember when we saw them in concert and no one knew who the fuck they were.
Yeah,
we're like, hey, these guys are cool. It was that Fall Out Boy tour, I tell you, man. They're like that tour blew them the fuck up. Because we went to that concert, no one knew them, and literally like a month later, it was like, I love 21 Pilots. Yeah. It was like, all right.
Yeah, like if it wasn't for this whole like Lemmy dying thing, they would still be the poster child for Kerrang magazine. They're just like fucking cover after cover of
21 Pilots.
Yeah, everybody's just shipping them.
What was your other album of 2015?
Oh yeah, so that one, and then my other album, which I don't think gets the recognition that it kind of deserves because of the type of music that it is Melanie Martinez Crybaby. It came out like really early in the year.
I remember you talking about it.
Again, I would never be caught dead listening to this shit
in public.
But
in underwear.
Yeah, but I came across the album at the record store I work at, and someone was playing it, and this girl just like the bars that she has, the wordplay, like it's just she's fucking a lyrical genius. At least so far.
Okay,
maybe this, but she might be one hit album and
one hit wonder. Yeah,
but
I listened to it and it reminds me of like she's like to modern pop what Marilyn Manson kind of was to like that new metal industrial scene back then.
Yeah, kind of like just this real like kind of fucked up, like eerie, dark kind of sense to this whole like pop scene that's going on where everything's about what it is like.
Yeah,
they're like pop scene now is kind of like what
it's all glamorous.
Like what glam rock and hair metal was to metal and shit. Where like we're like having parties and da 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 da. Where she's kind of like, I can't be in a room alone with myself for 2 seconds or I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Kind of thing, like just real.
So like actual shit. Like deep and introverted songs, unlike Adele, where she's still bitching about her ex-boyfriend.
Exactly, bingo.
Isn't she married now and has a kid?
I know. Get over it, Adele. You're turning into Taylor Swift.
Exactly. And even like part of this Melanie Martinez album, she even like turns it on herself and talks about her self-pity and how she makes everything about herself and her problems, and it was just very real, and I can appreciate that.
That's awesome.
To the point where I'd even be willing to sit through whatever opening band is playing before her to go see her, because I just appreciate her and I want to support whatever the fuck she's doing. I appreciate that we have someone in the business who's being straightforward and talking about real shit and how everything's kind of fucked.
All right.
But yeah, those are my 2 favorite albums.
Cool.
Yeah.
Henry.
It's time.
Yeah.
Renry. What is your album of 2015?
Nirvana's Bleach.
Yep. So I listened to a bunch of albums this year. Not as many as I used to. Like, I think during 2014, I listened to a total of 200 albums from that year.
Yeah, I remember you showing me the entire list. I was like, holy shit, dude.
And this year, I stopped listening to as much music.
Yep.
Because my interests expanded, so I like...
To getting fine honeys.
Time to get us some fine honeys. So, like, I played a lot more games than I did the last few years. Read a lot more comics.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
Nerdy shit.
Yeah. So it's like, I've only listened to about 80 albums this year.
Only.
Which,
Only about. I work at a record store. I haven't listened to any 80 new albums this year.
God damn it, I hate myself. But, so, like, there are still, like, a couple albums that really stuck out to me from this year. So
Okay.
it's like, Back on Top was personal favorite. I really like Cry Baby. Some personal favorites. I actually really like Blurry Face.
Okay.
Like, a lot of people say...
By 21 Pilots.
Yeah. A lot of people say that Vessel's their best album.
Yeah.
But I feel like Blurry Face is more of a complete work in itself in some ways.
Or it
feel
feels
like
like an entire, like, album.
I feel like they found themselves more with Blurryface.
Okay.
Because, like, with Vessel, 6 of the songs were from, like, their earlier, like...
And they just, like, re-recorded it or whatever. Yep.
So it's, like... And those are mostly the best songs on that album.
Yep.
But with, like, Blurry Face, it was, like, this complete idea of what they were.
They sort of came into their own.
Yeah. Had a lot more reggae than I thought it would.
Yeah, and that's sort of what turned me off to the album. Like, I can appreciate what it is and that a lot of people are into them, and that's awesome. But I think it was really just, like, a wrong place, wrong time for me. Because I've tried to listen to it, like, several times. I just can't get into it. It's going to be one of those things where I just listen to it on, like, a random fucking day, and I get really into it.
There's something about a band or a group that's not like directly a reggae group that trying to do reggae kind of annoys the shit out of me.
Like The Police.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, exactly. Or it's just,
Is this about Sting?
it just kind of like, just seems like they're trying a little bit much. But that's just me just being an asshole. That's not like an actual thing. But yeah, I kind of felt the same with like some of the reggae songs in there. But at the same time, it was kind of nice, like the steel drums and all that shit. Yeah, go on.
Let's see what else was there. Naturally, the new Mountain Goats album.
Duh.
Because, I mean, even he liked it.
It was really good.
I want to check it out. That's the one with the...
About wrestling.
Yeah, right.
That's another
Beat the
thing. It was
champ.
like, it was Mountain Goats, so it was already like pretty good music. And on top of that, it was connecting to like my wrestling fandom.
How are you going to go against a song about Chavo Guerrero?
I don't even know who that is.
Where's Fluffy?
What else was there that I really liked from this year? I actually downloaded the Undertale soundtrack,
Oh, wow.
which is really good.
Cool.
Like, even
really
without
like-
the game. Like, just the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys feel about For Your Strong's new album?
I like it.
Really?
I didn't
like it.
listen to it that much.
I'm like already out of my 4 Year Strong phase.
Yeah.
Or like, it was real. Like I really wasn't like that big of a 4 Year Strong fan.
Yeah.
I might have.
No,
Like,
that's
said,
totally fine.
Yeah, like I think I like probably said I was because I was really into them at one point. But I got out of it this past year, and I'm just kind of I don't know. Like I like the direction that they're going in.
Back into their old direction.
Back
Yeah.
into their old direction. And out of whatever bullshit they did. But it's just kind of too late for me to get into it.
Because it's been a while. That
Yeah.
album came out in like 2011 or something.
Yeah.
It was 4 fucking years ago. I can
Which one?
understand that.
Yeah.
The what do you call it? The what's Dave Grohl's band?
The Foo Fighters album.
Their Foo Fighters
yeah,
The
album.
one that sounds exactly like the Foo Fighters.
Yeah. Yes.
And looks exactly like a Foo Fighters album.
Yeah,
cover.
with like the thing on like a beige or gray background.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a bunch of like items.
I still think like the best 4 Year Strong album, song by song, is actually the Go Down in History EP. I feel like that's the strongest one if you just going by like song by song.
Okay. All right.
I get, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
No, I totally understand that. And the thing is like For Your Strong.
I don't agree, but I totally understand.
No. I like Go Down in History. I think is the best record they've come out with.
Really?
I'm just looking through like the list of albums I've listened to.
And so when this new one came out, when I first listened to it, I was like, holy shit. I won't be surprised if this is my album of the year.
Right.
Because it came out around the same time as Mad Max Fury Road, and it reminded me so much of Mad Max Fury Road, where it literally starts with engines roaring in the beginning, and then it like fucking explodes, and it has all of this energy, and I just wanted to give it a shout out. It's not my album of the year, obviously, but it was just such a great fucking like energetic comeback for these guys. These guys that I've been following for like 6 or 7 years now, and that's just, it's cool to see him come back.
No, it was a really good album. It was nice to kind of like analyze and observe them. From the point of view of not liking them anymore, or like listening to them. So yeah, it was a really good album.
There's some standout tracks. I forget some of the names. I guess they're not so stand out.
But like so some other ones for me that really stuck out from this year. I thought the new Earl Sweatshirt was really good. I don't like shit. I don't go outside.
Yeah.
Because like it finally gives Earl a sense of personality to his music.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Because before Earl was just constantly at like this.
I think it distances himself from Odd Future, which is probably the best thing he could possibly do right now.
Anybody from that group.
Yeah. Just because I think he is the most talented from that group, and I don't think he gets the recognition he deserves. So I think it's cool that he is finally sort of going out there and finally making his name worth something.
Especially because Tyler, Creator's album from this year was god awful.
Yeah, that was not a good album.
Cherry Bomb.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I will get fucking hyped on that album, and then I'll like there's like a track where it's sort of like a radio show that I really, really like. There are some standout tracks off of that album, and I enjoy it, but it's not a good album.
It like sounds to me like an Insane Clown Posse album.
Yeah, it's sort of like, for me, it's sort of like Gremlins, where it's like it's enjoyable, but it's not that great of a movie.
I think he's talking about Gremlins 2. Yeah. Gremlins is a masterpiece. I actually do love Gremlins.
I love Gremlins to death.
Let me think of a better analogy. Keep going.
Odd Future is kind of like the My Chemical Romance for rap, in the way that we were all into it in high school, and now we just kind of want them to
the fuck up.
We grew the fuck up, and now we just kind of want them to mature and get out of and away from like the group.
Well, I mean, My Chemical Romance broke up, so.
Oh yeah, exactly. But we're trying. But for Odd Future, like they've sort of haven't done anything with each other in a long time.
Kind of just like working on their own shit.
Yeah, and I
they
think
haven't officially broke up or anything.
Broke up.
I can't English. I'm tired.
They haven't officially like said anything, but I think they probably will soon. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we're almost there. Like I'm only like a year or two years younger than Tyler, I think, and it's at this point of just talk about other shit, dude. Like I'm younger than you, and I'm already like getting out of it, and you're still like appealing to fucking freshmen in high school. And
it's like listening to new Eminem. It's like, dude, you're like almost 50 now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And is like, when you think of it from a business side, there is a market for that, and people will buy it. Understandable, but it's one of those things where it's like, I've grown up with you, and I really like you as a person, and I want to see you do better for yourself.
It's like your shit is in Hot Topics still.
Yeah.
Let's get this shit rolling.
Let's get it out of there. Yep.
So some other albums that were really good. I really like the new Grimes album, Art Angels. I thought it was her most interesting release from like moving beyond like the just kind of sound that she made for herself, like expanding beyond that.
I don't know why I put this on the floor.
I thought that was really cool. The new Lupe Fiasco, Tetsuo and Youth.
Tetsuo!
was actually like really good, especially because Lupe Fiasco, ever since his first album, has just been going downhill. But this was like a big comeback for him.
That's cool.
There's this rapper I really like who's kind of underground named Milo.
It's your little brother?
Your little
But he put out an album this year, So the Flies Don't Come, which is really good. He also made one of my favorite albums from, I think, last year. Toothpaste Suburb.
Oh,
Okay.
I heard that one.
Yeah. I think that's a fucking phenomenal album.
It's pretty good.
I'm gonna say you can name 3 more, and then we gotta move on.
Okay, so
He gets 3.
I mean, we don't listen to much, and then this is the reason why we didn't do a actual categories for music is because he listens to so much shit.
because I would absolutely shred you two.
Yeah, exactly. And we would be way too lazy to listen to all of the nominees that we would have to put on there.
Too much.
So I'm just going to do my runner-up and then what I think was the best album of this year.
Okay.
So my runner-up is the Sufjan Stevens album, Carrie and Lowell.
Okay.
Because this is the most emotional album you'll possibly ever hear. The entire album was written after the aftermath of Sufjan Stevens' mother, who he was never close with, dying.
Okay.
So the entire album was written after her death. And it's basically the saddest thing you will ever hear in your life. And it's amazing.
Okay.
I'm gonna listen to it.
It's so sad, but it's so cool, man.
It's so cool how sad he is.
But the best album I listened to this year, which also happened to be the last review I did for my blog before I'm bringing it back to do my top 20 albums of this year, was Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly.
Fucking knew it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's so good.
Yeah. I need to give it another listen.
Usually I'd be bagging on this dude big time.
Yeah.
Because I just don't care for it. And everybody talks about it. But it finally got to the point where everybody was talking about it so much, I was like, fuck, what? Wow, okay, I'm gonna listen to
What,
it.
Mom? What?
Listen to
Shut
it.
up about Kendrick
My mom's
Lamar.
like, listen to Pimp a Butterfly. Do it. I'm like, Mom, leave me alone.
You ain't gonna get your meat if you don't listen to it. I don't know why I made your mom Jewish. Come on,
are
Ricky.
you
enjoy your
Jewish?
gefilte fish.
But yeah, I finally listened to it, and that album is phenomenal. Everything everybody says about it is what it is. It's a good album.
It really is, it makes me wonder, so Kendrick Lamar made possibly the best album of the year with his last 2 albums. When he made Good Kid, Mad City back in 2012, and then he made this in 2015.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, how good is Kendrick Lamar going to keep being? Is there going to be a point where you look back and Good Kid, Mad City's a piece of shit?
That'd be interesting, definitely.
Or is he going to turn into Eminem?
Oh, God. Please,
But
no.
And make a song about raping Iggy Azalea when he's a 40-year-old man.
Oh, my
But
God.
this last album kind of got him to the point where I can see him in the Marvel cover lineup for rap albums. Have you seen those?
Oh,
No.
those are awesome.
Yeah, they they took iconic hip hop album covers and
Replaced with
with,
Marvel characters.
Yeah, like Spider-Man on the
Nas.
Tribe Called Quest
Oh.
cover.
The De La Soul one with I forget who.
The 50 Cent Iron Man. That
Oh
one
yeah,
was
yeah,
awesome.
it's like
I'm going to
50
look
Cent,
these
but it
up
was Iron
for
Man.
you.
It was they're really cool.
Show it to me later. We got to move on.
Yeah.
But that's cool. That's your favorite album of 2015.
Yep.
Really good album. Did the American Music Awards, did that happen yet? When does that happen?
I don't watch any of that.
I don't know. The only one people care about is the Grammys, and even then, not really.
The only one
Yeah.
people care about is this one right here.
Yeah,
It's
right
happening
here, the
right now.
BzG Awards. Moving on, our favorite TV shows of 2015. I'm going to start.
I will start with this one.
Okay.
Shakila.
Well, actually, you go ahead. What is your favorite TV show of 2015, Henry?
Well, first I want to give a shout out to the best moment of TV in 2015.
Shakila. From Fresh Off the Boat.
Exactly.
Okay.
Is there going to be a better moment? No.
Okay.
Shakila. Really, Henry? What do you think? Shakila.
No, Henry, really.
No, seriously, what do you think?
I don't watch a lot of TV. Is the
Yeah.
thing.
I think you watch the most TV when you're at my house.
It's true though.
Because then that's just me catching up on Fresh Off the Boat and Bob's Burgers and shit.
The only shows I watch regularly where it's I'm like, oh, there's a new episode, better watch it, is Fresh Off the Boat, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Bob's Burgers, and then Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Okay.
Those are the 4 shows I watch.
So what was your favorite? What stood out to you?
Well, I do love Brooklyn Nine-Nine a lot.
Yeah. Really good season so far.
I think it's really good, and I just love Jake and Amy's chemistry together.
Yeah.
They're so adorable.
They definitely avoided the sort of... They were about to fucking do it. They're about to do the Ross
and
Rachel fucking thing.
Yep.
When they get together and then they split up. They were about to fucking do it, but then they did it right.
Up, but I heard
they did
all
it
about that.
fucking right, and it was just so good.
Mm.
So good. They avoided the Ross and Rachel.
It was so good. So good.
Ah!
Was there even any recent Bob's Burgers?
Yeah.
Bob's Burgers has felt staggered to me. I don't feel like they do every week anymore. I don't know.
The season's been over.
I do want to say this year is important to me in TV because it's the year where I finally went, you know what, I'm not going to watch The Simpsons anymore.
Yeah, that's good. You need to stop.
The
I gave up like 8 years ago.
The last episode I watched was the season premiere where Homer and Marge split up and he starts dating the character from Girls.
The last one I watched is they did a version of Boyhood.
Ugh.
It was
that
was the last.
The
straw.
last one I remember watching was like Marge was about to like leave, and she was on like the four corner, but it was like the 8 corners or whatever. Or no, it was one where Sideshow Bob escaped, and like they're on like
which one?
The one they're on like the 8 like states that combine, and he's like.
Oh yeah,
stepping on one, like stepping.
It was
in
the one
state.
where he ripped off his face.
Yeah.
So it was like,
and that was like 7 years ago. That's like the last one I remember seeing live.
They just did a Sideshow Bob episode where he finally kills Bart.
That was the Treehouse. No, that was the last one I saw because I still always watch Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah, because we watched that one together, where he like finally kills Bart, and he's just like there's like a montage of him just doing stuff with his body around the house. It's really, it's kind of like he's playing golf and he's like hitting the ball into his mouth and he's like stepping on him to kick it out. It's fucking.
This doesn't feel right. Brings him.
That's distasteful.
Yeah, doesn't feel.
It's Treehouse of Horror. They just do whatever.
Yeah,
brings him back to life, kills him, brings him back to life, kills him, brings him back to life, kills him. Homer comes to the house. He's just like, "Where's Bart?" He has like Santa's little helper, like barking at him, and he's just like, "Oh, I didn't do it." Yeah, what about this tattoo? And it's like. The Kill Bart tattoo.
It's German for the Bart.
And he's just like, yeah, but have you seen this one? And it's like, I love Bart. And he's just like, oh, well, who's the next suspect? It says Homer Simpson. It's, like, it's the only good thing about the season that made me laugh.
Would Brooklyn Nine-Nine be your favorite of 2015?
Yeah, probably, but you have to remember I still haven't watched Jessica Jones.
Oh, that's true. Did you watch Daredevil?
Some of it.
Okay.
That shit good.
Ricky.
I just have a really bad attention span.
No, yeah, and that's totally. And again, that's why I didn't want to do a category for TV shows because I know you don't watch as much, and then you and I connect on some things, but then not everything. So
it's more like you and I both showing each other shit, and sometimes it connects, sometimes
it clicks, and sometimes it's like you guys are fucking weird. Yeah. Stop talking to me.
Yeah. And every year without Breaking Bad just makes you cry more.
We're getting Better Call Saul coming back in February.
Okay,
I think
taking care of Pookie at your house and seeing the Breaking Bad DVDs. It took me.
It was so tempting, wasn't it?
So I almost started watching it again.
Even though they're still available on Netflix, but seeing them in a physical form, you're just like,
that's nice.
Shout out to my mom who got those Blu-rays for me for Christmas a couple years ago.
You could have made me watch them with you.
Oh, you still have not watched Breaking Bad? I'm fucking.
Anyway,
Ricky, what is your favorite TV show?
So I know my favorite for sure.
Okay.
But I wanted to do 2 honorable mentions.
Yeah, do a couple of honorable mentions.
So, honorable mention, Fresh Off the Boat this year.
Wow, I thought that was going to be your...
Tequila.
My tequila. I love this show. Yeah. This is like my runner-up. I should have said this one after the other one I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't fucking matter.
It really doesn't. It didn't win, and that's what matters.
Yeah. If you ate first,
but you're
probably 7th.
But you're always a runner-up to Cattleman's Ranch.
Again, this season started off very slow compared to the other one, which was just
it did not start off that strong, and then we fell off at one point. But then we caught back up because it started getting good again, and then we dropped off at another point. We got to catch up with like everything, like the whole last month of shows, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and
I prefer to be called Earl when I'm holding my baby.
Basically everything we watch on Hulu, we got to catch up with.
But yeah, like once they picked it up, they fucking picked it up. The problem with Fresh Off the Boat is they make inside jokes season long. So if you miss one episode, the next episode's gonna have a bunch of inside jokes from the
Arrested
last one.
Development was a lot like that though.
Well, why are you not gonna watch the whole thing? Why are you not gonna watch the whole thing?
I love Arrested Development, but I can't admit. It's like when you made Quentin the only episode Quentin saw
was the first episode of season 4.
He went back and watched it, and now we quote it.
Really,
back and
he
forth
really
all the
loves that show. But when he first watched it, was the first season of episode 4. He's like, Arrested Development sucks, and it was like, no, you don't understand. This season sucks.
I'm still trying to pitch Arrested Development to Tasia like I was Jehovah's Witness. Like come on.
Just knocking on her bedroom door.
Babe.
I would like to talk to you about our Lord and Savior, George Michael.
That reminds me of something that was. Why am I talking?
That's the microphone.
I was
one.
I was watching the first episode of your Arkham Knight playthrough.
Oh yeah.
And when you said that Bruce Wayne looks really weird in it.
Yeah.
To me, he just looks like Michael.
Well, no.
Yeah.
To give you guys some context, right? By the time you're watching this, I'm about a week and a half through my Arkham Knight playthrough, and we'll get to video games. Video game awards will be Thursday. So the rendering of Bruce Wayne in Arkham Knight, he looks a lot like. Do you remember the? He's a combination of the main guy from District 9.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wickus?
Yes. Who's also the villain in the next movie that he did. Elysium.
Yeah.
And then a combination of that dude and also, do you ever watch Homeland?
That actor is also known as
Homeland?
Mm-hmm.
The main actor who's like sort of ginger. Bruce Wayne looks like a combination of those two guys.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying because he looks
see it.
nothing like that in Arkham City. And it's like so off-putting. I'm like, that's not what Bruce Wayne looks
I think
like.
they're trying to make him look like Ben Affleck.
Anyway, you were talking about honorable mentions of your favorite TV show.
So yeah, Fresh Off the Boat, I think picked it up well.
Mm.
And they're back to how good they used to be.
Yeah.
So they're doing the Shaq thing.
Yeah. Yep.
It's great.
They're in it. They got
Yeah.
Shaq on the show, which I think is awesome.
My second honorable mention is Jessica Jones.
Okay.
I did like it.
Yep.
A lot.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
I never wanted to see those sex scenes.
I mean, she got fucked hard.
Like I felt it in mine.
Hard. Like, you felt it in your non-existing pussy.
Yeah.
I need to watch this.
Well, Luke Cage is a hard motherfucker. Yeah, there's some really intense sex scenes in there.
Yeah.
They say he has indestructible skin.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently she has an indestructible fascish.
I still think Luke Cage should have been played by Terry Crews.
Let's put it this way.
Terry
Luke
Titties.
Cage is part of the PC club.
Okay.
Anyway, and my favorite show of the year is Daredevil.
Okay.
I fucking loved it.
I still
Okay.
forget
It was-
that was from this year.
I know.
The reason why, I don't even care. I'm just putting it there. If not, Fresh Off the Boat, whatever. We'll figure it out.
No, it's okay.
But Daredevil, I'm putting it as my number one because, yes, I love Fresh Off the Boat. It's fucking hilarious.
Okay.
But Daredevil, had me, emotionally.
By my
Throughout the
left
entire thing.
nut slightly
Yeah.
squeezing.
Jessica Jones was fucking great, but
Yeah.
it didn't get me to the level that Daredevil did.
Okay.
Because Daredevil's the shit.
Okay.
And
We love
that's it.
Daredevil.
Oh, you feel it?
I got a couple honorable mentions as well. My first honorable mention is Jessica Jones.
I'm really surprised that wasn't your number one.
Because Daredevil isn't an honorable mention, but Jessica Jones, I think, grips me throughout the entire time. Daredevil definitely grips me, but there are 2 or 3 throwaway episodes where it's like, this didn't really need to be a part of the story. It didn't add to the main picture at all. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have a 13 episode season, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So, but Jessica Jones didn't have any throwaway side plots or episodes or anything. It all mattered and all came together, and it was just so well done. And Kristen Ritter playing Jessica Jones was so awesome because I love her from Breaking Bad. She's a great actress.
So you love her in general.
I just love her in general. Anyway, and
She knocks
then
on the door. No.
she pounds on the door, breaks down. Oh God, you really have those powers.
You want to
Man,
see
you
me and
pound-
Luke Cage? Go on.
Man, you pounded that door harder than Luke Cage pounded you.
Shut up, you haven't watched it yet.
Already
We just saw it. You can't reference it yet.
Anyway, besides the crazy sex scenes.
Yeah.
And then David Tennant as Kilgrave. fucking phenomenal. And he is the best villain. He's hands down the best villains of the MCU.
It made David Tennant being in it that much better because I just got done with him in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like...
It's great. Like, I always want... There are two actors that I always want to be relevant, and it's David Tennant and it's Ewan McGregor. And see David Tennant sort of come back in the mainstream in a sort of way was awesome. And to see him take on this character to, like, all his willpower and put it into this person, and this fucked up person, was awesome. And...
Like Luke Cage put all his willpower. Just gonna keep going.
Are you staying on this?
All right, so that was my first honorable mention. My second honorable mention, which I thought was my TV show of the year, but I changed it. My second honorable mention is Master of None, Aziz Ansari's new Netflix show.
I still haven't finished it.
So fucking good. It's... When I explain to people, like, what it is, because usually when you hear the words Aziz Ansari, you're like, oh god, the guy who shouts all the time.
You're like, Randy!
You're like, oh my god, Aziz!
Exactly, that's what you think of. But this show is so not that whatsoever. It's this very, like, how I explain it to people, it's like, the tone of Louis and the humor that's in Louis, the show about Louis C.K.
It's Louis for millennials.
Yeah, it's Louis for people in their mid-20s going into the 30s. And someone who is, like, sort of in his early... Not sort of. I'm in my early 20s and sort of growing up and figuring out how committed relationships work and, how, like, hookups work and... trying to, like, do what I love and having your parents, like, sometimes not accept that or recognize that much. It was just so well done. The topics that always, like, each episode was sort of a theme, and all of the themes were so fucking good. The best one was Indians on TV, where it was, like, the misrepresentation of Indian people and Indian culture in media. And it was just so... It hit so many great fucking points, because I have friends who are Indian who say shit like that, of like, yeah, like, this is totally, like, not the right way to represent us. And
Screenshot of, like, the Mindy Project.
Oh, and this is like, and like, we should be
who
just
actually really likes the Mindy Project. 7.
Oh,
I thought he was gonna be like me. Fight.
But it was just so great to see something finally said about that, and to, like, have this sort of arc in the last couple of episodes of, like, being in a relationship and thinking about getting married and maybe having kids, and then going through, like, a hardship in a relationship and trying to go from there. It was just so... It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
But not good enough to be my favorite TV show of 2015. I was introduced to this show this last year, even though this is technically this is the second season.
Says
of
Dragon
this
Ball
show.
Z, I'm kicking your ass.
My TV show of 2015, Rick and Morty.
Oh, I don't know why I didn't think of it.
Yeah, neither did I for some reason. I always watch that too. I got my dad into it, actually.
Yeah, you guys got me into this show like in the middle of the summer.
You surpassed us too, because we haven't finished the season.
You guys haven't finished.
I haven't.
Season.
I don't know if you have.
Oh, I've watched it, the whole thing.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. It was the first season, but to a better quality. Like, it was still, like, that great same humor. Like, 2 episodes stand out to me this season. Is the episode where there's, like, a parasite in their house who adds, like, memories that aren't real to people's, like, brains, because they transform into, like, other people or, like, weird characters and whatnot, and then they'll add memories to your brain to make you think that that's a real person. So at one point, like, they have memories of, like, going to the theater with Count Chocula and then, like, Mr. Poopy Butthole and all of this stuff, and it's
Mr.
like
Belvedere.
and then, like, their butler, which they've never had, and it was so funny, like, to see them, like,
Thanks, Ben Sylvester.
Goes crazy. Like, they lock down the house, and it's like all of these the entire house is full, and they still have, like, all of these memories of, like, being with all of these people.
Yeah,
and it was so great to try to, like, for them to figure it out, and, like, oh, the parasites are people who you only have good memories of, because they would think about, like, the actual family would think about each other, like, shitty times that they have with them, and be like, yeah, you're real. Like, just like the sister walking in on Morty like jerking off, and
God,
or he's like jerking off in the kitchen or something, and she's like, she throws something at him or whatever. He's like, I was thinking about your friend or whatever. He's like, oh, you're such a dick, and she's like, yeah, you're real. And then like at the end, they finally have it figured out, and it's like the family and Rick and Mr. Poopy Butthole, who's it's voiced by Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob.
Yeah.
And he's like this sort of like little.
He's getting
slim,
a lot more work.
I like that because I like Tom Kenny, even though SpongeBob SquarePants is fucking shit now. Tom
Kenny's a good guy.
He is a good guy. Good guy. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
Fucking Mr. Complete Nonsense.
Huh?
From David and Bob and David.
Bob and David. Yeah.
We should have mentioned that.
Oh, Bob and David.
Yeah, we should have.
All right, there you go. We mentioned
Bob and David was hysterical.
Yeah.
Mr. Poopy Butthole, like at the end, they're all eating dinner and everything's sort of sorted out. And Mr. Poopy Butthole is presented like he is a parasite, and the mom looks at him like, and then brings out a gun and shoots him, and he's real, like he's not a parasite, and it like quickly turns from this like really funny, like silly, like crazy episode. And literally just the last minute is like this really fucking intense, like he's dying and like they're like trying to call like the ambulance, and the mom is fucking like in hysterics. She goes to like the kitchen and just starts pouring herself like a glass of wine and is fucking drinking it, and it's like, holy shit.
I heard there was this also there's like two parts to the season where like it's like the normal typical Rick and Morty stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing going on with Uncle Rick where like he's
Grandpa Rick,
where he's like dying or some shit.
Oh, that's an episode where he's little Rick,
Tiny Rick.
I'm Tiny Rick.
I heard that like continues on to something.
Let me out. This is not a dance. I'm begging for help. I'm screaming for help. Someone let me out. No, it's more of him. That episode was about him realizing that he is old and he doesn't really connect with anybody anymore because he wants to stay as Tiny Rick, but his subconscious there's like conflict there, and that sort of conflict goes throughout the rest of the season. Like it starts there, and that's sort of later in the season. It starts there and goes into like the last couple of episodes, and the last episode of that season is really, really fucking upsetting.
Ugh.
Of just like the sort of depression that Rick realizes he has, and like spoilers for the season, like the whole family's wanted and they're trying to find like a place to hide, and
Jesus Christ.
Rick is at one point is like, they won't go after you if I turn myself in, and then he goes and turns himself in, and that's how the season ends.
Jesus.
And it's like this really sad, like touching moment.
And
then it cuts to Mr. Poopy a Butthole like, hey,
oh gee, wow, isn't that an ending?
Isn't that an ending? I guess you weren't expecting it to end there. Will be answered in the third season. I don't know.
Like in a year or two. I don't know.
Like I did not expect this show to be so emotionally resonant with me.
It's like
when you guys first introduced it to me, where it's like fucking Morty putting this thing up his asshole and it makes him super smart and shit. And then at the end of it, he's like writhing in pain, and Rick's just like, yeah, Rick and Morty. Yeah, Morty and Rick.
Morty and Rick times 100. RickandMorty.com.
Yeah, like when you guys showed me that episode, I was like, this is fun. It's ridiculous. I don't think anything more of it. But when the second season came out, I was just like, holy shit.
It's the smartest show that's ever been on Adult Swim.
Oh, yeah. I think it's one of the smarter shows, cartoon shows, to be honest.
Yeah, because it's like Adult Swim has always just been like, oh, that's the show that you watch when you're really high and you just want something that's stupid. It's
that
like,
you don't have to think about.
Who would think that Rick and Morty the channel that had Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Squidbillies
in Super Jail.
We love Super Jail
because you guys are stoners.
But then like this just shows how smart Adult Swim could be, and also it's like it shows how good a writer Dan Harmon is.
Yes, he's fantastic.
Yeah. Like he's the reason Monster House is a good movie.
And then, like Dan Harmon, it's just like some of the themes that are in this season. I'm like, what is going on in your life right now? Like,
I think he just went through a divorce.
Who hurt you?
He went through a divorce recently.
Yeah, and that definitely shows, and that like he did so well.
Writers going through a divorce can either go like this or more oral, where it's just sad all the way through.
Where it's I hope we both die.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my TV show of 2015.
Good.
Yep.
I'm glad.
And if you want to share what your TV show and album of 2015 was. You can leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining us for the first part of the BzG Awards, which was TV shows and music and our silly whatever fucking awards. Anyway, join us tomorrow. We've got the... What's that? Oh, okay. I thought you were signaling like audio's fucked up or something. I got really scared. No, you're all good. Anyway, join us tomorrow. We will be back with the movie awards. And then the day after that, on Thursday, we will be doing the video game awards. And if you want to see me play through one of the nominees for Game of the Year, Batman Arkham Knight, I'm going through that right now as we speak. And if you want to know, I don't know if you guys, like, I don't know, because you have your blog, I don't know if you talk about your personal top 10 video games of the year or whatnot. If you want to know my personal top 10 video games of 2015, I'm a guest. This came out by the time you're listening to or watching this. It was last week. Go to irrationalpassions.com. Irrationalpassions.com. I'm a guest. Every year, Alex O'Neill brings on guests, like 10 or 20 of them each year to talk about. It's like a one-on-one episode of like him walking you through like what your top 10 games of 2015 are. And he's got a lot of great guests like Trevor Starkey, I think Sean Pitts, myself.
Did he get Greg Miller?
He did get Greg Miller, and he texted me this morning. He's like the two most popular episodes of the Game of the Year guest appearances are Greg Miller, and then it's you. And I was like, oh, yes.
Bruh,
so go listen to my episode even more so I can defeat Greg Miller. No, that won't happen. That
Finally,
won't ever
you can be
happen.
trending gamer.
But that was so cool when he texted me. I was like, holy shit, like, that's really cool that people even listen to my episode because I'm, fucking no one. Anyway, if you want to, maybe a hint at what maybe how the Game Awards are going to turn out, listen to that. It's really fun. I was about to say Adam for some reason. Alex and I have a really fun time. A lot of laughs shared on that episode. A lot of tears. A lot of dick speak sucked.
That's where the tears came from.
Exactly. Anyway, check that out. Return tomorrow and then Thursday and then Friday before I totally wrap this up. Friday, we have a special announcement video after the awards go on. So check that. Come back here. Watch the last episode of the Arkham Knight playthrough, and then watch our special announcement video. We've got very exciting stuff coming for 2016, so make sure to check that out. So thank you so much for joining us for the first part of the awards show. You can find us on Twitter. All of that is right here below us, so I don't have to say it anymore. I can just show it to you and not feel fucking like I gotta say it every fucking time.
He's the cool kid.
He is the cool kid. I want to sit next to him while having lunch. I gotta look up my rigmarole. Really?
I want to sit next to him.
You guys were sitting on the couch, and then I had to stand up because I didn't want to sit next to you on the couch. Because I felt weird. I felt weird eating food and then sitting on the couch.
Should have came.
What are your thoughts on like our favorite picks of 2015? You can leave that also in the comments below. If you liked this video, like that like button, share with your friends, subscribe to our channel for the rest of the BzG Awards and what's coming. Awesomely enough in 2016.
That's a Shakespearean actor.
So thank you so much one last time for joining us. And until next time, until tomorrow, have a great day full of all things TV and music related. Thank
Panama.
I guess that's music related. Panama.